When I was younger in the Yu-Gi-Oh card game, I was set on a budget. And I'm not saying that I'm not on a budget now, it's just a different type of budget. Navigating through a meta where Lightsworn was still dominant, I made a competitive insect deck that actually helped me win locals quite a few times. It ran cards like Skill Drain to stop those Lightsworn monster effects, and huge monsters like Doom Dozer allowing me to run over the opponent's cards. But even when my opponent were able to use cards like Honest to get over my monsters, I had a spell card like Verdant Sanctuary to be able to give me more insect monsters, so eventually I just outpaced them. And while that particular strategy just might not do well today, Yu-Gi-Oh hasn't changed too much. In this video, I'm going to be spitballing some really good decks, their most expensive card, and how they would operate under a budget. As always, if you guys want to see more videos like this, then make sure you destroy that subscribe button, but also be sure to hit that notification bell if you want to stay too strong. So without further ado, let's jump on in. The current format that we are in is rather a grindy one. A lot of strategies want to take you into that 8th and 9th and 10th turn, dwindling down your resources while they're gaining advantage on their own. In comes a really good budget deck, Edgren Module. Now, Edgren Module isn't necessarily afraid of the grind, but most of those control decks don't really have very strong monsters. I mean, they kinda strong, but they not strong. The Edgren Module strategy can summon a monster that typically has 10,000 attack, allowing you to simplify even the simplified game state and just one-shot your opponent. This means that even control decks now need to look out for placing the wrong link monsters on the side of the field without protecting them from being destroyed by battle, because Edgren Module can end the entire game with one punch. The most expensive card for the Edgren Module strategy is typically Gizmek Orochi. It sits at about $15 each and you need 3 copies of this card. But everything else in the Edgren Module strategy is relatively cheap. Edgren Module itself for the highest rarity sitting around $2. I think that Edgren Module is a very fun, competitive budget deck. Now that we realize that the current format wants to drag out games dwindling your opponent resources, there are some other decks that operate like Edgren Module for the players that may not want to play Edgren Module. One of them is the Crusader strategy, which is similar to the Edgren Module deck because it can one-shot the opponent at any given time. Crusader Equimax is your go-to card with the ability to gain attack to every single monster that it points to. This almost guarantees that you'll have the strongest monster on your side of the field, and Crusader has excellent board break as you can always give your opponent a healthy kaiju to their side of the field and have it point to your Equimax. The Crusader strategy isn't a one-trick pony though. While it can OTK the opponent, it can play that grind game as well. Equimax does have the ability to negate an opponent's cards, and if you guys want to go a little outside of your budget, assuming that it is in that $100 range, you can play the Aquafibrix Link Cross Engine, which can get you into some really deadly boards. Moving back into a budget though, seeming that all of these decks are going to be around the $100 range, the most expensive card you might have to buy for the Crusader strategy is Crusader Mech Knight Avramax. It is a card that can solidify the game if you can't just outright OTK your opponent, it can't be targeted, and it almost destroys any monster stronger than it, seeing that it will gain that attack if it was special summoned. I actually have built this Crusader deck in under $100. Obviously, you can make the adjustments as you see fit. If I remember correctly, I beat an Eldritch Synchro deck with it right off the bat. Now, if fast and free wins just aren't your thing, maybe you want to grind with these grindy decks, then taking advantage of their presence in the graveyard might be critical. Incoming, the Inferno strategy, which takes best advantage of the opponent relying on the graveyard. Almost every single one of your Inferno monsters are a DD Crow. Also seeing that every strategy wants to special summon from the extra deck, gaining the full advantage of Void Imagination to be able to summon an Inferno Tiara by sending Inferno monsters from your deck to the graveyard, and also potentially sending cards like Elder Entity Intis from your extra deck to the graveyard to destroy your opponent's cards. Infernoids can be a terrible strategy to deal with. This strategy also has the ability to wipe boards through its Infernoid boss monsters, as well as being able to negate and banish card effects. I think that Infernoids are heavily slept on and are great against strategies that are reliant on the graveyard. Infernoid's most expensive card is Infernoid Tiara. You can get an ultra rare copy of this card for around $10, and you might need 2 to 3 copies depending on which variant of Infernoid you're playing. Regardless, I think that Infernoid is an amazing strategy, and when all goes wrong, just use Layer of Darkness to tribute your opponent's cards. Another really cheap strategy that seemed to have fallen off the map is the Zombie World strategy. Players should be rather accustomed to how the Zombie World strategy operates. Doom King Ballardrock allows you to negate zombie monsters that are activated, meaning if your opponent wants to use cards like Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, or the new Ghost Warner and Moonlit Chill card, Ballardrock provides immediate immunity with this strategy just by simply negating them. Another cool thing is if you can afford them in your own zombie deck, you can even use cards like Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring and Ghost Warner and Moonlit Chill to trigger your Ballardrock's other effect to banish cards on the field. The Zombie World strategy is a structure deck strategy, meaning that if you can find those structure decks, you can get most of the deck for as little as $30, meaning you'll have the rest of your budget to be able to play with other cards that can make your zombie deck amazing. Cards like Rairu of the Warlords will prevent your opponent from summoning monsters if you have Zombie World on the field, unless the monsters that they are summoning are an original type of zombie. This strategy is really good, and probably the most expensive card will be your Hakla Fibrix if you decide to play that route, or you can play Vert Anaconda, which could send cards like Super Polymerization from your deck to the graveyard, and all of your opponent's monsters are zombies, so you can proceed to fuse their cards for a Dragon Necro Nether Soul Dragon. Thunder Dragon just got a huge boost with the Toon Chaos set, and it's a strategy that is really cheap. The thing that I like most about the Thunder Dragon strategy is that it's actually a good going second deck. Even with the loss of Thunder Dragon Colossus, Thunder Dragon Titan allows you to destroy multiple cards on the field as long as Thunder monsters are activated in the hand. The deck also has plenty of extra deck space, so you can run generic Link cards, and if you can't afford it or already have it, make your way to a 4 Disruption Apollousa the Bow Goddess while gaining Thunder Dragon monsters effects. Thunder Dragon can also play a Guard Dragon engine all the way to making a true King of all Calamity, so this is a strategy that doesn't want to mess around. If you go first, you can Calamities your opponent or Apollousa the Bow Goddess if you can afford it, and then turn 2 you can push for some heavy damage as most of your Thunder Dragon monsters have formidable attack. And by formidable attack, I mean you can just make Thunder Dragon Titan over and over again, and that's pretty formidable, right? The most expensive card for Thunder Dragon will probably be IP Masquerena if you guys decide to play it. It's an excellent card for the Thunder Dragon strategy, as you can make Unchained Abomination, which gives you more destructions upon destroying cards, or just simply Predaplant Vert Anaconda, which will give you access to Thunder Dragon Fusion or whatever fusion cards you decide to deploy in your Thunder Dragon strategy. Now I know the headline says top 5, but I have to include a 6, because I'd be pretty evil not to include the cover picture in the video, and also I need to make that 10-minute mark. But Burning Abyss is an amazing strategy. Some players like to play the Block Dragon Earth variant, which allows you to combo off with Fossil Dynapachi Cephalo, which prevents your opponents from special summoning, and a Mech Knight Crusader Aramax, which prevents them from attacking the Fossil Dyna. Currently in this format, I think the better version goes to the trap version of Burning Abyss. It plays just like 2014 Burning Abyss, going as far back to using trap cards like Karma Cut to be able to banish cards to your opponent's side of the field, and then taking it a step further, banishing multiple copies of the same card in the graveyard, preventing said strategies from being able to ever play them again. I personally feel that the trap-based variant can only go further due to the restrictions on the Forbidden List. If Graf or Seer or Beatrice ever come off, this deck can be extremely dominant, but until then, it's a very cheap and good budget deck. Now, the most expensive card in a trap-based Burning Abyss deck is Infinite Impermanence at about $30, but you don't necessarily need an Infinite Impermanence inside of the strategy. Other than that, you can kind of take your pick on what's the most expensive card. I don't know, it's like a Orlo Dragon or something. It's really, really cheap. And while it is nice to have cards like IP Masquerena, it's not necessary for the strategy, as Burning Abyss can always adapt and overcome any situation it's presented. Thank you guys so much for watching another segment of the Cali Effect. I want you guys to post down below in the comment section what are some great budget decks that I missed, but also be on the lookout for deck profiles and live duels of the aforementioned decks. It's really exciting, and if you guys have any comments or suggestions, also be sure to post down below in the comment section, and I'll catch you on the next video.